2, 1. Well, here we are. And yes, we're going to consider, because hopefully this is going to provoke thought, I'm sure it will, and I'm going to elucidate somewhat my feelings on the idea that all statues, plaques, and memorials that have been deemed offensive or yet to be deemed offensive even will be removed here in the United States. You know, I live in Pennsylvania. We have Gettysburg, has like over 1,350, more than that, of these items, commemorative items, for both the northern and southern sides of the battle that occurred in Gettysburg, one of the largest battles, if not the largest battle, during the Civil War. So, I can say this, a statement released from the National Park in Gettysburg recently says that they don't intend to remove any of them. Now, when I see statues and things like that, it never enters my mind. These statues don't stand out to me and make me reflect and go, oh yes, there's a statue commemorating slavery. Right on. Now, it never occurs to me. If that's what it incited in me, I wouldn't want to look at that. But I don't think, first off, I don't think most people even know their history that well. I don't think that most people see a particular statue and had it in their minds until somebody got it out there and they exploited the idea and just expounded upon it and positively or negatively or from a kind of a bent perspective, educated many people to who has owned slaves and who played what role and every other thing. I seriously doubt that during the time these statues have been there in place, that very many people have looked upon these statues or as they passed by in their day-to-day life and said, that is so offensive to me. That's like a cross before a vampire because I see slavery being celebrated when I see that statue. I seriously doubt that, or I think we would have heard about it long before now. The thing is, a lot of these statues that they want to eliminate, it just keeps expanding, you know. And now, I just saw a petition that's online, a suggested petition. Granted, it only has one signature at this point. But I saw a petition online where someone representing the gay community wants all statues and commemorative memorials of Martin Luther King Jr. removed because he was against gay marriage. And so that's one community within our society that feels that they were slighted or held down or oppressed by this man. So you see how ridiculous things can get? You know, who's the overseer, maybe a poor choice of words, that's going to decide this is where this ends? Or, yeah, we'll give the ups to this guy, thumbs up, we're going to keep this one, but no, that guy, you're right, has to go. Who's going to be the final verdict on that? If the gay community wants to remove Martin Luther King, if they have a problem with commemorating this man's life and his deeds because he was against gay marriage, from their perspective, that's as legitimate as a whole lot of other things. And I'm pretty sure that most of you out there agree with me that the removal of any commemorative memorial in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. is pretty ridiculous. It's beyond consideration, in my opinion. So you see, from that angle, things can get out of hand pretty quickly and get literally ridiculous. But the other statues, a lot of these things, man, when you start messing with the founding fathers, for one thing, many of the rights that we enjoy, all of us, the many rights that we are emboldened with, come by way of these founding fathers. So even though some of these founding fathers may have been slave owners, just as Martin Luther King may have been against gay marriage, the bulk of their life's work, their contribution to our society today, those are the things that are commemorated. When I see a statue commemorating any of these people, it never stands out to me that slavery is being commemorated. Never stands out to me that slavery is being applauded, or lauded. It strikes me that I think of Revolutionary War. I think, the parts that were played by some of these people. I think of the Declaration of Independence. These are the things I think of. I think of the better aspects, the best aspects, the ideals, which we are still trying to live up to, but the ideals that were set into place to framework and found this nation. The ideals. That's why when I see people that want to remain seated to protest, in silent protest when they play the national anthem, it never occurs to me that that's a thing to protest, because that is holding up and reminding people of the ideals that our country is founded upon, that the United States is founded upon, the ideal. And nothing is perfect. Perfection just, in human beings, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Perfection is, I considered this actually literally last night, not even thinking about these statues or this issue, and I thought to myself, good Lord, whatever you believe, so long as you don't believe that we're just completely biological entity and that just a whole bunch of chemicals in our brains make us what and who we are, and that when we die, we're done. Nothing continues. Well, energy can't be destroyed, only altered. So I do definitely believe that we do go on. Now, I don't know where we go, but I believe we go on. It's very possible to me that maybe we continue to hopefully, ascend. That we may have to go through many, many, many renditions of various lives and make different appearances so that we can learn something. Maybe something that is holding us back, huge flaw, whatever, detriment that we still need to learn. So I thought to myself, if that's the case, and I have to go through this redundantly repeating, maybe, the worst thing of all, pure hell, would be if you had to repeat the same life. If you had to repeat the same life until you got it right. I thought to myself, I'll be stuck in this endless loop, because if perfection is required, I can never achieve that. I can never achieve that. So I have an eternity to repeat this life. Oh my God. Praise whatever power there is or you believe in, if you do, that I don't have to be cognizant of that. Otherwise, I would have probably already, I'd probably already be in a straitjacket. So perfection in human beings, I think that cannot be achieved. It's an impossible ideal. And the ideals that we have been founded upon here, framework, are to be applauded. They are laudable ideals and principles and beliefs. So I don't think we should lose sight of that. No matter what we go through as a country, no matter where we stand socially, economically, where the moral is, the overall moral principle that is exercised and displayed at the moment from various perspectives all over the world. We can look great, we can look horrible, but I think the one thing that we all need to cling to, side by side, is that the ideal of what the Stars and Stripes are supposed to represent, or what they do represent, what is actually the intent, and that if we just strive to secure that, to accomplish that, and embody the intent, the ideal of what the United States is supposed to be at its best, that is going to keep us on course. So when people want to take a seat for the national anthem, I understand what you're trying to do, But I don't think the national anthem and sitting when the flag is, we're singing a song, they're playing a song that basically commemorates and celebrates our independence and our whole entire reason for being as a nation. I don't see where that is a good thing, or where that moves in the right direction or inspires people to move in the right direction. I'm not saying don't protest and don't disagree and don't have your say, but I don't know. I think I could find some other way to do it. With the statue issue, let me just tell you this much. That statue can do you no harm now. That statue, even if you walk by that statue every day and it offends you because to you, that statue does not does not recognize or does not represent a signature on the Declaration of Independence or any of the doctrine that actually empowers you with the right to stand there and criticize it and speak out against it. That person's signature or support of in his time or her time, if you don't see any of that and all you see is slavery, okay, I'm going to go with you on that. If that's all you see and it totally offends you, let me point this out. At least that's tangible, that statue. That statue's going to stand right there where it stands, unless it's removed. It's not going to, of its own volition, get up and walk away. It's not going to do anything that can negatively impact your life in and of itself. It's an inanimate object, but you can walk up to it, you can spit on it, you can smack it, you can talk shit to it. You know where it is, you know where to find it, and it's just going to stand there if left to its own device. Whereas the intangible almost, the things that are done behind the curtain, the Wizard in the Oz, the people from families with huge, big resources, power, influence, that actually run this country. Those people get to just have their way. They just have a complete field day. And these are the people that enslave us all to one perspective or one degree or another today, now, right now. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that just further makes the point that we are so desensitized to it and it's been so normalized that we accept all the infringements on our rights as they come. They encroach bit by bit. We accept it all. Don't even pay it any mind. So those people, they love the idea. Sure, we'll remove all the statues and you'll probably get that. You'll probably get that to a large degree, and you're seeing it happens. It's happening. You know why? To you, it represents victory if it does. Well, to these huge families with the tons of money, they're waist deep in money. They don't care. They love it. They love it. They want you to become outraged about the statues, and they want to go ahead and give that to you because it makes their representatives and their minions look good, and it keeps you focused on that to them, which is very small and insignificant and actually stupid. I can assure you it is, because this is their prevailing attitude for all of us. So as they continue to tighten the leash around our necks, the collar, mine, yours, all of us, we instead argue, scream, and fuss over which statues should be removed and which statues shouldn't. So do you have any valid point if that's what you want to remove, these statues? I don't know. Why? Because my mind is on other things. My mind is on where the country's actually going, and you could make the argument that these statues play into that, but I would say that they do not. I would say that rather than focus on the wood that may be splintering, supporting your house, maybe focus on the wood that's on fire and currently burning. Maybe we should settle that issue first, to keep the whole structure intact before we concern ourselves with just a nail that's backed out, or wood that just may be splintering and fraying and looking a little shoddy. You know what I mean? Before we worry about dressing up every little perfect detail, trying to attain that unattainable perfection, so that everybody feels the world's beautiful, perfect place just couldn't be better here. Why aren't we concerned with the huge oppressive things that really go on, that people who are alive today, unlike the statues, people who are okay to practice this, people that still go about their affairs in their malevolent business, the people that are truly causing you harm now, right now, those people, they continue on while we worry about a statue that, left to itself, is just going to stand there. And then the argument can be made, well, if we're going to get rid of that person's negative contribution, his negative contribution overrides any positive influence he had, to the degree that, not when we commemorate this person's life with a statue, certainly we must be commemorating and celebrating slavery, because all the positive, that outweighs all the positive contributions from this person. Well, then let's erase that person completely. So let's erase that signature off that Declaration of Independence. So let's continue to do this and take these whole chunks of contributions, as much as we can, away, and let's see what we're left with. I think if you extrapolate things and you do that, remove all their influence, then I think you're going to have a pretty shoddy looking country. So yeah, maybe you have a point. I can see where you're coming from. But at the same time, I got to say that in lieu of real life, I don't see your point at all. And I think there are many more oppressive influences on your life and my life today, that if we stop fighting amongst ourselves, that possibly we could get together and say, hey man, that person, that family, that group needs to be reined in a little bit. I think that's much more relevant right now, because you have to live with that. That affects your life right now, like to a much greater degree than that statue standing there, even if in your eyes that's all it represents is slavery. Just my opinion. Please let me know what you think, because that's what we're about. We're just here to hopefully think and discuss. Thanks, and have a great day.